Ignoring my 20-something rice-hating self, I'm remaking completely plant-based Nigella Lawson's lemon risotto from the Nigella Bites cookbook and TV show. Finely chop 1 onion and 1 stick of celery. Melt about 1.5 tablespoons of vegan butter or spread with some oil, again about 1 tablespoon or 2, over kind of high heat initially, and then turn it down to medium heat once it has started sizzling. Now it's time to use my other half's old-fashioned scale set, for which I require a conversion chart, to try and work out how to weigh 300 grams of rice. Now, before anybody freaks out, yes, I am using basmati rice and not the correct arborio rice. Apologies, Italy and cooking purists. Fry the onion and the celery with a pinch of salt in the pan until the onion is softened. Boil 1 litre of water in the kettle and pour it over a stock cube or an equivalent amount of vegetable stock. Now add the rice to the softened onion and the celery and stir it into the sticky, buttery oiliness. I clearly need Nigella's book on adjectives. Pour in the stock a little bit at a time, allowing the rice to soak that bit up before putting the next bit in, until eventually covering the rice completely with all of the remaining stock. Don't worry, the rice will definitely soak up every single bit of stock that you put in there, even if it looks a bit strange initially. And then after about 20 minutes, it should be cooked enough. At this point, I added 2 tablespoons of lemon juice from a bottle, 1 teaspoon of dried rosemary, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of salt and a pinch of pepper. Stirred all of that in, plus half a teaspoon of turmeric, but if I did it again, I'd add a whole teaspoon, and 1/3 cup of plain unsweetened yogurt. In this case, soy yogurt. And it's ready to serve with a pinch more black pepper. Now, admittedly, my final product was more stodge than splodge, but does it live up to Nigella's review?
So you eat this, you know the world is a better place.
Well, yes, this is definitely comfort food, and my other half and I really enjoyed it. It tasted more cheesy than lemony, I have to admit, which is probably because I didn't use a real lemon or the zest, but I'm not actually sure if we would have necessarily enjoyed it if it was more lemony than cheesy, but who knows. It also, my other half said it looked a bit plain, and he would have preferred it if there had been a bit more colour to it. Now, interestingly, the celery was supposed to have been chopped really small, but I didn't. I just chopped it into sort of quarter circle shapes, and it had a nice extra crunch to it, and you couldn't taste it as celery, but it just made a sort of a nice extra texture, and it had a splash of colour, therefore, to the meal. So I would definitely do that again, and next time I would probably also have a second stick of celery chucked in for good measure. I did use basmati. It's not supposed to be used for risotto. I know that technically this is a lemon rice dish, not risotto, but I didn't have enough of the risotto rice in the cupboard. It's a bit expensive, and it's 2022. As we all know, this is not a great year for spending more money than you need to, so I stuck to basmati, and I've made risottos with basmati before, rice dishes with basmati before, and they've been fine. It probably did change the texture. It may be the reason why it was more stodgy. That could also, however, have been because I needed to add more water, admittedly, but who knows. In terms of the turmeric as well, I only added half a teaspoon because I was worried about too much of the turmeric taste coming through. But I would definitely add a whole teaspoon next time and not worry about that so much. But it's really just there for colour, so you don't have to add it at all. And the yogurt, I used the plain soy yogurt, but you could potentially use oat cream as well. She uses double cream. It's very difficult to get unsweetened vegan double cream, so just use whatever you have. Finally, she talks about this being enough to serve 2. I've got to say, I served half of this between the 2 of us. It was plenty for me. My other half had a little bit more, so we've got about 1/3 of it left. I reckon you could easily spread this between 3 to 4 people. Definitely. So yeah, unless you have an appetite like Nigella, this is a really good tea time meal for 3 to 4 people, and I would definitely make it again.